What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Hollywood Tales. My name is Ahmed Ahmed. This is episode 2. We just started this podcast a week ago, right here at Jam in the Van, and you're watching live right now, Monday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Where the studio is located here in West Los Angeles. I've got my co-host, Blake Barty. Give it up for Blake.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And our guest, Anya Zova,
Hi, guys.
very funny comedian. We're going to talk to her shortly, but I want to give a couple quick shout-outs to Wolf Ramirez, our videographer, producer, sound engineer, editor. He does a lot here at Jam in the Van. He just had a birthday, so happy birthday, Wolf. He's over here
Happy birthday.
working off camera. Jack Higgins, who is our creative director, he helped us put all this together, along with the two Jakes, who own and co-run the place, and the awesome staff that's here every day. You guys are 7 days a week, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 7 days a week, Jam in the Van. It's music, it's comedy, it's also like all sorts of cool functions and events, and they've got these great sponsors. So if you're in Los Angeles, specifically the West LA area, come check out Jam in the Van. Can I disclose I guess I can say the address, right?
Yeah.
3384 Motor Avenue. Well, no, because during the pandemic, when they were promoting shows, we're like, buy the ticket first, then we'll give you the address. But it's kind of like the cat's out of the bag right now.
No,
So
you did
3-3
something wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't want to get fired after episode 2. 3384 Motor Avenue, right in between Venice Boulevard and I think Pico, is it?
Yeah.
It's a cool little spot. It's an ex-rehab center. Do you know that, Anya?
No.
So drug addicts used to, try to figure out their life in this. It's a whole complex, by the way. You can't see it. This is just one room. It's their room dedicated to podcasts, but they have an indoor space. They have an awesome big green room upstairs. There's an outdoor space that probably seats 300 people. There's an actual tour bus / van that they've converted and renovated into an awesome little recording studio, hence the name Jam in the Van. And comedy became relevant here during the pandemic. And so that's how we got here. I did a show with them, and when they were coming here to the new studio, I reached out and I said, hey, I'd love to do a podcast with you guys. So here we are. Thanks to all of you that are watching. Thanks to all the Jam in the Fan followers, subscribers. And let's just get into it. Happy Monday.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a crazy week. Last Monday, our first guest, our inaugural guest, is the iconic rock legend and good friend of mine, Tom Morello. He was here with us. He spent a lot of time with us, almost 45 minutes, I think. And he's just a great guy. You know Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine, Audio Slave, The Night Watchman. Currently, he's producing, writing music, and releasing Atlas Underground and Atlas Underground Flood. He's all over the place. He's on Sirius XM. He's producing his son, Roman, who's 10 years old and shreds like Eddie Van Halen. I don't know if you've seen his son, but
No, I saw the episode, but I haven't seen the son.
you got to watch his son. He's incredible. So just if you missed that episode, it's on the YouTube channel at Jam in the Van. Check it out, Hollywood Tales, episode 1 with rock legend Tom Morello. Thank you, Tom, for being on our first podcast and shining a light. How do you feel? That was your first podcast ever last week.
I thought it was amazing. Wasn't much for me to say. I mean, let you and Tom do your thing, and but it was really nice. Tom seems like a super nice guy with a vast knowledge of music, so it's kind of cool just to sit back and watch the podcast from him.
Well, no, because he is like he's a musician. He's a technician too. He's got this great ear for music, and then he knows how to literally wire it in and through his guitar strings. And he was talking last week about how DJs were trying to take guitar riffs and put them into their music, and he's trying to reverse it and have guitar players play stuff that sound like a DJ, scratching.
That's
He has this whole weird thing with his guitar strings. He just does weird moves with the pedals, and he's really kind of a magician and a genius with the guitar. So
He's like self-taught, right? I did my research.
yeah, he was in a lot of bands. He talked about this last week. He had two guitar teachers that stood out to him. And I can't remember. You have to watch the podcast. But remember he said something to the effect of like, this one guy said that I play too fast, and you need to slow down. And he kind of talked about that. But yeah, I think most guitar players are self-taught, but you still take lessons, I think, in the beginning. And he did when he was like, I want to say 17 it was. But yeah, that was cool to have him on. So again, thank you, Tom. And we are here every Monday. We have a special guest next week who I don't think will be here live, but virtually he'll be here. And I don't want to tip the hat too hard, or too much, but he's an old friend of mine. You know him from a iconic Christmas movie, a legendary Christmas movie, and he will be one of our Christmas specials. How about that?
Yeah.
Wolf, can we, when we make the flyer, the poster, and I'll send you who it is. If we can do a funny like Christmas poster, just to celebrate who he is, and
Home Alone.
you'll I can't give it out. You'll recognize him. Yeah, see, that's why I like.
Ask, do you know who he is?
It's all about suspense, sister.
Just whisper in my ear.
I'll tell you once we stop.
Okay.
But we will promote him online on social media. So if you want to follow all of us, I'm at Ahmed Comedy. That's Blake_Bartee, Bartee, and at Anya Zova, just straight up.
Anya_Zova.
Anya_Zova. And I can't wait till next week to have this guest because you'll recognize him right away. Just to give you a little tiny hint, he was a famous child star. He was in an iconic Christmas movie. And well, there's a couple of them out there.
Yeah.
And
He may or may not say yippee ki
don't give it out. Now you're giving it away. And he's turned and converted into being like a really well-respected producer and director now. So I'm going to leave it at that. But tune in every Monday, 3 p.m. I always look in my Rolodex and like to call up all my old friends and new friends. And we'll see where this podcast takes us. But let's talk about last Thursday. We all performed at the Irvine Improv.
Super fun.
In front of, and there were like about 175 people.
175. Nice little Thursday.
It seats 500, but on short notice, we managed to get about a $1.75 in there. These two were on the show: Jen Sturger, Joe Yarell, Nikki Paris hosted it, who's a great comic and host. David, I forgot his last name. David Welty.
Yeah, David Welty.
Big, tall door guy from the Improv. I offered him 5 minutes, and you got to give everybody a chance, I think, who deserves it and who are nice and kind. And he also helped out a lot. And I thought he was funny, despite what some people might think or say. I think that was his first time on stage in that vast of an audience, too. So I thought he did really well.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of pressure,
Yeah. And Susie's sitcom was on it. So it was fun. I mean, you got, I think, the best piece of tape out of that, right?
I mean, yeah.
You killed it. Like, you're so shy.
It was super fun. Yeah.
And how many friends you brought?
I feel like I had like 50 hecklers in there for sure. It was a rowdy crowd, but it was super fun. I think a few people might have got kicked out, but
Well, that one guy who looks like Willie. So, I found out the backstory about that. Right before I even started my set, I was just kind of doing some crowd work and talking to the audience. And then this guy was being escorted out by one of the security guards, and he was yelling something out at me. And I didn't even know he was there because he was in the back. It's dark. And I think I said something that triggered him. Everybody's triggered.
Sensitive people.
And this woman messaged me on Twitter after the show, not that night, but like a few days later. Hey, great show. My husband and I had so much fun. We saw the guy that got kicked out. I guess his wife got kicked out later or before. But something happened with their 2 children that just passed away in a car accident. and they were trying to get out to have some fun, and I don't know what I said, but I guess that made them think about their kids. So when I read that message, I felt like really bad. So I want to apologize if I offended you. And I know that if you come out to a comedy show, you know, you should just try to expect to laugh. Comics typically aren't trying to trigger people. I think we're just saying what's on our minds.
Yeah.
But something, whatever, telepathically crossed into their minds from just a simple word that came out of my mouth. And I wasn't even addressing them. I didn't like have any material about car accidents. Like I didn't.
Yeah, I'm trying to think now. What?
Nothing.
No.
No, because I watched my clip. I watched the tape that Matthew, the sound guy, sent us. And I'm thinking, what did I say?
I don't think you don't have anything about it.
No. And I'm just trying to recall like what it was. But anyway, it was funny that the woman had mentioned that. So I don't know who it was. But then there were quite a few chatty people in the audience. Your auntie was a little chatty.
She was.
And I didn't realize she was your auntie until later because I watched my tape and I remember having an interaction with her. And I said something, I did the whole like, hey, nobody came to see you, just stop, zip it up, how come why is it that white people always want to, I said, black people talk during movies. That's true. They don't talk during comedy shows. You never see black people talking during comedy. During a movie, though, for some reason. I don't know if it's because it's... I don't know. It's an interesting psychology. Arabs don't talk during comedy shows because typically they never come to comedy shows.
Yeah.
They just want to bargain with you over whatever thing they're exporting or importing. But white people love to chat. They love to chime in and give them their 2 cents.
I feel like in Muslim countries, if you chat too much, you get punched, right? It's like you cannot get offensive with the words without getting into physicality.
It depends what Muslim country you're in. Yeah. I mean, Egypt, they're starting revolutions.
In America, you cannot hit anyone. You can just chat. Yeah.
Excuse me. But you felt good about it. That was your first time on stage in front of that many people, right? Or no, that's not true. You performed at Sea Legs in front of 500 people. But what was the difference?
It was, I think,
because one was indoors, one was outdoors, different energy vibe. What was the difference? And how do you feel doing both?
Well, I mean, the improv's pretty prestigious. I've always wanted to perform there, so I was pretty excited. I invited a lot of people. A lot of people showed up, and then before we were starting the show, I could hear everybody just chatting it up and being really loud, and a lot of, yeah, let's go. And then I went out there for a second, and they started chanting, Blake, Allen Barty, Blake. And I was like, oh, my God, this is about to get weird.
That's the problem when you invite too many friends and family. They think it's a license to just say and do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, so luckily I got through all my material. I saw some lady that my mom had sent. She was getting blitzed. She was that lady right in the middle. She was talking to everybody. And she tried to stand up while I was in middle of material. And luckily I just kept steamrolling through and she sat back down. But
stand up during your set?
She was just going to stand up and say something. And then I saw her like this and I was like, okay.
I think that's the worst when people they want to help out. And it's like, don't help out.
Yeah, I was like, shut up.
By the way, it was a $10 ticket. Sit down.
Yeah, you paid for it.
It's not like you paid $75 to see Bill Burr. You're seeing Ahmed Ahmed and friends.
Yeah.
The show's not that, high caliber. No offense.
I thought it was pretty high
I think it was
caliber. I don't
pretty
know.
high.
Whoa. See this over here, everybody?
I mean, sorry, we haven't
whenever a comic
toured
has
the
a good
world.
set- That's right. You have not toured the world.
Sorry, guy. But yeah, to me, it was beautiful. It was big.
And people came to see you specifically. It was a
Yeah.
bunch of them.
I mean,
Well, and
thank you for putting us on.
That was fun.
That was, you didn't need to do that.
I think it's fun. I like watching, I think I put it in our little group text, it's fun to watch all the ships rise, right? I hate when comics become very too selfish and too self-centered and they're only helping themselves. It's like, I get it and I understand it. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
But that's my producer's side saying, I see talent in this person and they were likable and nice to work with and professional and why not throw him on the show for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, right?
And you put Joe Yarell right before you, and he murders.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was.
Well,
yeah.
see, and that's my other thing is Joe. If you don't know Joe Yarell, follow him on Instagram at Joe_Yarell. I'm sorry, EURELL. Right.
Yep.
He is a disabled human being. He's in a high end, like super heavy and expensive wheelchair contraption. But this cat murders. I've never seen him not murder.
Yeah,
Every time
he's
he kills.
dialed
I
in.
mean, God giveth and God,
And he kills it at roast battles. I mean, the guy's just he's a great writer.
comics respect him. He's a great writer. I mean, he's a great deliverer too for the mobility that he has or lack thereof. He just, for some reason, God just gave him the trick, the magic of telling jokes, writing jokes. Every time I work with him, I'm always amazed.
It's fun every time. He said he wants to come on here and talk some shit someday too. So.
Joe Yarell?
Oh yeah.
He's not allowed in here. Nope. The comedy world and podcasts are two different things, Yarell. I'm just joking.
He's got some strong opinions on some things. It's pretty funny.
I love Joe. Of course he can
Yeah.
come. Will his wheelchair fit through there?
We'll get him in here.
Yeah.
We'll sneak him in
At
here.
least, yeah.
That thing's big. Not the door, his wheelchair.
We'll have him zoom through. Yeah, it used to be Stephen Hawkins. So
I think it'll fit through there. If not, we'll put him in a chair and just pick him up and carry him in. What about you? You got on the show last minute and you came in and fucking destroyed it.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for putting me in.
Yeah,
It
of
was
course.
like a privilege. Guys, you have to understand because Ahmed didn't had to put any of us in. Like you had how many people opening for you? Seven? Seven? Like I've never seen a headliner putting 7 people in front of you. Like
Well, a couple of them only did
5, 7.
Like you did 5. I think Susie did 10. I think most of everybody did 10 or 15. And the other opening act, the guy David.
Yeah, but it's a lot of people. So this is just shows to everybody how nice and supportive Ahmed is. Like I've never seen any other headliner doing it. Usually it's 3 people, 4 people max. And you just give all of us opportunity, which was huge.
Well, I don't think 5 or 10 minutes is gonna make a difference to me.
And yeah.
And if you can go up on stage and make a little bit of cash, get a tape out of it. I think everybody got a nice
Yeah,
tape.
nice.
I got a really
from
good
the
tape.
sound engineer, and get exposed not only to the fans and the people in the audience, but the club manager
Exactly.
and the staff. And the staff, the one thing in the comedy business, especially at comedy clubs, if the staff likes you, typically they'll invite you back because the staff will always say, "Oh, they were so polite. They tipped us out.
yeah.
Everybody was cool." I've heard horror stories. I'm not going to name names.
I heard a few as well. Yeah.
I probably have horror stories about me, and that's fine. I own up to my. What was it? I heard this thing. I watched this thing on TikTok today. This guy goes, if somebody comes at you with negative or positive, something like they say to you that's negative or positive, you say, what was it? Something to the effect of yeah, some of that's true.
Own it. Yeah, just own it.
Positive or negative.
Yeah.
Because what that does is it captures the energy in the moment. It says that you are accepting of whatever you think is true for you, and then you put it back down into Mother Earth. It was the coolest thing I watched at 4:30 in the morning on TikTok.
Nice.
I couldn't go to bed.
Why you could put
Usually
I couldn't-
when I'm scrolling through, it's just camel toes and booty clapping. I never get any
No.
motivational shit. That's weird.
No, my algorithm, I don't know, I have conspiracy theories, science, recipes, cool things to make, construction, art. I have I have intellectual shit, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
This is how you
But,
compensate each other, guys.
That's why we balance each other out.
Yeah, I woke up to a Bruce Lee meme the other day.
Yeah.
Be Wata. Okay, dude, Jesus.
No, he was saying
Waking
the
up.
same thing.
I know.
And I saw this online. Bruce Lee had this meme or quote where he said, be positive, because whenever you're negative, your body doesn't know the difference.
Don't speak negatively
Like
about
if you
yourself.
speak negatively about yourself, your body will absorb that verbal thought or
Yeah.
outspoken message, and that's how people get cancer and disease and depression and all that shit. Because if you do the positive side, then you'll get health and all the great standards in life. But I just thought it was interesting because I used to believe that. I stopped believing in it because society got in the way, the internet got in the way. You forget that your body does absorb those, whatever you want to call them.
Even thoughts, not just words, thoughts too. Whatever you
Just,
think about,
positive
whatever you
thoughts.
think about yourself. Yeah.
Because the body doesn't know the difference. That was my favorite line and quote of the meme. Your body doesn't know the difference.
Yeah.
So I sent Blake that because we were having some
He
negative.
felt like I needed it. Yeah.
These motherfuckers get negative around
I am
me.
kind of depressed this morning. Thank you. All
But,
right.
have you noticed like stupid people is usually the happiest ones because they never think that they're stupid. They think that they're the smartest or
Oh,
the
yeah.
best one. It's like I always get jealous. I'm like, wow,
They seem pretty happy.
because I'm happy.
Yeah, pretty damn happy.
What else? What else we have on the agenda today? We were going to talk about a couple things.
We're gonna talk about Anya and a little bit about her.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Anya Zova is a beautiful from Russia, right? Russian comedian, but you used to do a lot of other stuff. So let's just go down the list of what you used to do.
Well, growing up in Russia, I've done gymnastics, kickboxing. Kickboxing, probably the highest achievement in Russia. I've been a national team for over 7 years. Became world champion 2011.
World champion?
I won
Did you go
kickboxing
to?
World Cup. Yeah.
Wow.
Did you go to like Thailand and study Muay Thai and all
No,
that?
it's Muay Thai. Like
Muay Thai.
I did kickboxing classical, like full contact without elbows, no knees. So it's kicks and punches. But I've never done Muay Thai. For me, it's too hard.
Oh,
It's
that's
like,
what Muay Thai is elbows and
it's
knees. I didn't know
elbows and
that.
knees plus it's very tough. Like Muay Thai, it's like one of the toughest, and then it's MMA where you wrestle as well. So
How'd you get into kickboxing?
I think I watched too much of Charlie's Angels growing up. And I was begging my father, I was like, can you send me to the boxing? Well, first of all, growing up back in Russia, it wasn't safe. Like, you see crime on the streets and drugs, and people don't babysit kids as they do here. So, just for, I guess, I was like 14 at this age when I started hanging out with the boys, and my parents got concerned about it. And I wanted to do boxing. So my father brought me to the boxing gym, and I was the only girl.
Hold on, can I interject for a second?
Sure.
Your mom told you to get into kickboxing because you were hanging out with the boys.
It's like my father, because it's like, it's not safe. Like, we were 14, we were drinking and smoking cigarettes. It's like, it's...
But was your mom afraid that one of these boys might take you for granted?
No, she always trusted me, but she's like, well, for self-defense, you probably should. Why not?
Just in case.
Just in case.
Just
yeah.
in case.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's a Russian guy's name?
Buddies.
Just in case.
Vladimir?
Just in case Boris decides to
Boris.
put his hand on the small of your back.
Yeah.
No здоровья.
But I think still more worried not about like sexual stuff, but more about getting raped on the streets or like being kidnapped on the streets, like stuff like that.
What part of Russia did you live in?
It's southeast of Moscow. It doesn't matter. Back then, it's 90s. It doesn't matter where
It was
you live.
happening everywhere.
It was happening everywhere. People were getting killed for, we didn't have phones, but for earrings. Like if you have nice earrings, somebody would just run to you and pull them away and rip off your ear. So this is the time I grew up.
Damn.
Jeez.
Yeah, so I think more for this purposes, they were okay with that. And my coach, he was Muslim, and he didn't want to take me. He's like, I never change the girls, only boys. I'm like, hey, please.
That's haram.
It's haram, yeah.
Forbidden.
You can't.
To kick a woman? Actually, in the Muslim country, it might be okay. But to get kicked by one, no.
No.
No. You'll get stoned for that.
Yeah.
Not stoned, but we'll throw stones.
So anyway, his name is Fawad, and he took me.
He's a Russian Muslim.
Russian, Azerbaijani Muslim. Azerbaijani.
How do you say the country again?
Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan.
It used to be part of USSR. They speak Russian, but they're Muslims.
Right.
So yeah, he basically raised me. He didn't want to take me. He's like, okay, you can come, but I'm not going to pay attention to you. Just repeat whatever boys do. And he's like, okay, you have to wear baggy clothes. Like he didn't allow me to wear like a tank top, and I had to cover my hair with bandana. So
How tall were you when you started?
14, I still not as tall as I am now, but maybe like 5'9".
Because you
Like
were
a-
born like
So-
3 foot 2 inches, right?
I don't know.
So Anya, just Just so you know, Anya, you're 6 feet tall, right?
6'1", yeah.
You're 6'1".
6'1",
Yeah.
She's 6'1".
From
From
my mom, how tall she was when she was born.
from Instagram and like her photos
You
online,
cannot tell.
and even like if you're just like hanging out, sitting next to you, you can't tell.
Yeah, I have to stand
But
up.
you stand up next to her, you're like,
Okay.
Kick me, please.
just joking.
This is his dream. Like, okay, I'm gonna kick you one day for your birthday.
Kick him here on the podcast.
He keeps asking me to kick him.
I
kick
need
him-
pads, but
kick him right in the
I wanna
gut.
Feel it.
No, it's okay. We want you to be conscious.
No
until
elbows.
the end.
No knees, no
So,
elbows.
so you're taking the kickboxing classes.
And I started like 14. It's late, like to be in a national team, but I really wanted it. And my coach, he took me to the nationals very quickly, and I miserably lost the fight. And back then, when I lost, I'm like, oh damn, this is I need to really work on.
Is it points or knockout?
I lost by points,
By
but
points.
I was in pain, like mentally, like my ego was
Yeah.
hurt. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I lost.
Have you ever been knocked out?
Yes, by guys, not by the girl. In the train, because I was the privilege I had. I was trained with the best guys in my cities. They were like champions.
You got knocked out in the training
In the
facility,
training facility,
like
yeah.
straight up, like out cold.
Yeah, it's actually was a kick. Yeah,
Damn.
Jeez.
yeah. So it happens.
Sorry.
I've never been knocked out, so it's all
It better not to be, but it's a concussion, light concussion. Yeah, and then I started working out really hard because I want to be in the national team. It took for me like a year and a half to get to the national team. But I had a privilege because even though I was super skinny and tall, I still was in a heavy division. So the competition for me was less. Like for the boys to get a national team, they had to have like, 5 fights to get qualified for the finals. For me, I always had 3 fights. So it was less fights, but still I had to work out the same amount. Plus the girls who were fighting against me, they always were bulky, shorter, and like muscular. So I had to create the technique to keep them on a distance, make sure I don't let them close to me because then I lose.
You had to create a technique.
Well, not create myself, but watch other boxers like Klitschko. Like I didn't have any kickboxers to like watch and learn from them. It was boxers. Klitschko, Vitaly Klitschko, Vladimir Klitschko. They're tall and they always work on a distance. So I had to kind of learn from them. But it was fun. It was best years of my life, I would say, in Russia. We traveled together. We did all the championships together with the team.
And it was all only in Russia.
Well, yeah, I was in a national team in Russia. But we traveled for championships in Croatia, in Italy. So it depends where the championship is.
And so what, just timeline-wise, what age to what to what?
14 till 21. So I moved here when I was 21. So 14 till 21. Yeah.
And why'd you move here?
Because I wanted to challenge. In Russia, I was modeling, doing kickboxing, and I went to law school, I graduated law school. So I was kind of set.
Wow.
Like in Russia, if you're a professional athlete and if you become a national champion, you make it to the championship, your life is kind of set. You can be a politician. Most of the athletes becomes politicians.
Oh, wow.
Or you can work for police. It's like you okay, you're comfortable.
You can do a lot. You can work for the Russian spies.
Spies, yeah.
You're like
your
Angelina
face is
Jolie.
recognized. Your face is recognized. You cannot be.
I think you secretly, the comedy thing is a gimmick. I think Wolf, let's just make sure we're documenting this. Because we might have a spy in the
Oh my
room.
gosh, you're gonna get me arrested.
No, it's just funny listening to your story. You're like, I'm a world champion kickboxer. I have a law degree. I'm ex-supermodel. And then you're just like, I was bored of all that.
But it was hard work. It wasn't like that. Modeling, I never succeeded. I was too tall and too masculine for models. So I was like average. I was making some money in commercials, but nothing big. And
I think you would have made more money and done well here, no?
yeah, for modeling because it's.
Why didn't you do that?
I used to, but now I just love acting and stand up so much more. Like modeling seems boring.
So let's thank you for once. Somebody's gonna no, because a lot of these women are like, oh my god, it's just like it's not,
It's not fun.
So how did you transition into stand-up comedy?
Well, I moved to the States and I was kind of, what do I do? Because I applied for a green card as a person with extraordinary abilities. Like when you become like champion or something, like when you achieve something in your field, you can qualify for a green card. So I did that and I was in transition. Should I do boxing? Because females boxing became part of the Olympic game. So there's a lot of opportunities.
Well, you got to apply for a green card because of your law, modeling, or kickboxing?
Kickboxing is
okay.
the only achievement I have. The rest is just like whatever. And so I applied, and I was thinking what to do. MMA, I'm not good at wrestling. Boxing, I'm not good at it. And somebody told me, like, what about professional wrestling, WWE? And I went on their website, and they had, like, apply or something. And I sent a link to them to my website. Next day, they called me. It's like, hey, are you in Miami? I'm like, yeah. And back then I didn't speak English very well at all. Like it was broken English. So they invited me for a tryout in Tampa for 1 week. And I honestly, all I knew about professional wrestling is the Rock. I'm like, this is the only person I know. I went to the tryout and they put me to train with guys, with wrestlers. And I remember my first day at the training facility, I got picked up and body slammed by one of the guys. I'm like, wow, this hurts. I'm like, in kickboxing, like all the injuries I had in kickboxing is nothing to compare to the pain you experience when you fall on your back from your own height even higher. So, but somehow I liked it. I'm like, this is another challenge. It's hard. It's not as easy as it seems to be. And they hired me. I spent a year with them, learned English from them, from guys. And fall in love with acting because once a week we had a promo day, which basically they put you in, like, it's a spotlight on you, you stay in with the mic, there's a camera in front of you, and all the wrestlers and producers at the back. And for this 1 minute, you can say wherever you want to say. Basically, you have to talk shit about other wrestlers.
I'm Anya Zova. I'm going to crush the Jamaican queen in half. That's the role.
If she
WWE,
dies,
are you
she
watching
dies.
it? Ahmed Ahmed is a great at it. So don't have any Muslim wrestlers right now. Ahmed, you have a shot.
Well, the Iron Sheik, wasn't he? Iron
A
Sheik
long
was
time
Muslim,
ago,
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you actually had matches.
Well, yeah, but this is the thing. I suck at it. Like, I'm bad at wrestling. I really enjoyed the physicality and being in the ring during the practice. But when it came, I had matches. But when it came to
I'm talking like public, people bought a ticket to come watch.
Yeah, but it's like we did, when you sign up with WWE, they have a developmental program called NXT. Right now it's in Orlando. Back then it was in Tampa. And they set up for you matches in all over Florida. We drove to different facilities. People come, they buy tickets, and you perform for them. And then once you establish your character, the producers pick you up and they put you on TV on Monday Night Raw. But it takes time to develop the character.
And you never got to that next level.
Oh, no, I never got it.
By choice or because they didn't?
I broke my arm in the training, and I had like a plate in my arm. And then
Ouch.
I had like, 2
How'd you
surgeries.
break your arm?
I did a stupid move in the ring, and the ropes were loose, so they didn't check the ropes that day. And I was the first one to touch that rope, and I did a handstand based on the rope, and my hand just fall because the rope was loose.
Have you thought about doing stunt work?
I don't want to do it.
I mean, she gets knocked out. She gets knocked out. She breaks her arm.
Body slam.
She's fighting men that are
Yeah, my
your size or bigger.
Yeah. But I need.
I think there's some therapy that needs to happen. There too.
Oh, I've done years of therapy.
Do you have siblings?
I don't.
It's only child. That makes
Same
sense.
here. Nice.
That makes sense. 2 only children, 2 peas in a pod.
Spoiled.
And your parents still live in Russia,
No, they moved. I became a citizen, and they moved 3 years ago. So now they're in Miami.
in Miami. So after the wrestling,
This is when I was depressed. I broke my arm. I got released, which I didn't know. Apparently, the little letters in the contract, it says you can be. I thought you cannot be released while you're injured, but apparently you can. So, and then like I'm with a broken arm, with a huge cast, was like still figuring out life in America, you know? So it was a tough time. But then I was like, okay, I love acting part of wrestling the best. For me, it was like Wednesday nights, the promo day was the day I was looking for the entire week. I'm like, let me just focus on acting, and somehow got lucky. I got signed with an agency who was focused on athletes, and she booked me on McDonald's commercial with LeBron James, and I had no idea who LeBron James is at that moment.
Damn,
It was
okay.
funny. I'm like, she's like, do you know who he is? I'm like, no, I can Google him.
he's one of the biggest basketball stars on the planet.
And yeah, that's my Hollywood tale story, I guess.
Save it.
Yeah, save
You wanna save that for the end?
Save it. Yeah, and I got this McDonald's commercial, became SAG actress, started taking a bunch of classes. That was like 8 years ago. And then I transitioned from acting, still do acting, but stand-up comedy.
So we met in Florida.
We met in Florida.
It was last year, right?
It was during the pandemic.
It was during the pandemic, but I want to say it was last
I think it was winter.
June.
Was it June? I felt like it was winter.
No, because remember I came out and I did that show with at that loud crazy bar.
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
What was it called?
I don't. It was the first my time there. Dania. It wasn't Dania Beach. No.
Yeah.
Delray Beach.
Delray Beach. So we met in Florida almost Yeah, it was a year. Well, it was about a year and a half ago. It was last like June or July, and then you just got to LA recently.
Yeah, I moved here 3 months ago.
So how do you think the LA comedy scene is better or worse, versus Florida?
Well, I love it because it's challenging, and I love challenges in my life. Because in Florida, I was comfortable. There are maybe 100 comics between Miami, West Palm Beach. 50 of them are working, and 20 of them are good. So, like, I feel comfortable. I've been doing the same material for years, and I'm like, oh, I'm okay. I can kill. I can walk into any room. I feel comfortable.
You're super funny.
Oh, thank you.
How much time do you have total?
Well, right now, it's about 30 minutes. 30.
No, I mean for this podcast.
What do you mean, talking now? I'm like,
Will you do me a huge and hand me that purple, whatever that is? Thank you, bud.
Is it sponsors?
Yeah, we have some sponsors here. Sierra Nevada. Let's give it up for Sierra Nevada.
Okay.
Strange Beast Hard Kombucha. If you're having some issues with your gut, need some probiotic, try this.
Healthy.
For me, just good old IPA does the trick.
Now we know your secret.
Now you know my secret. That and Blanco Tequila.
Actually, I want to ask you, what is your secret? Because, guys, if you haven't seen Ahmed 10, 15 years ago, I want you to Google him. Sorry.
What does that mean?
Because right now you look 100 times better than you
Really?
looked 15 years ago. It's like, it's not fair, like women.
How is that? Thank you, first
But
of
it's
all.
true.
Remember, I'm going to take in this positivity. You know what? Some of it's true.
Yeah,
remember,
it is true.
Remember the kung
Yeah,
fu?
yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're right. Some of that's true. I think it's funny because you're not the first person to say that. I'm blushing because I'm flattered. I think it's because it's just a state of mind. I think when I was in my 20s and 30s, well, I also had like dark curly hair. So I think having like no hair, like I've been rocking bald for a minute, but having that sort of like I typically I've been going bald lately, but having like the salt and pepper, short hair thing, but more like state of mind, like trying to laugh every day, trying to just stay positive every day, and I went through a lot of hard times in the past. It's like 6-7 years of my career, a lot of valleys. After climbing so many mountains, I came back and it was just like the valley of death for 5, 6, 7 years. So I don't know. I think I just made a conscious choice to just feel better spiritually. So maybe that's what's showing. Because I think I look at myself, at the pictures you're probably talking about, and I'm like, oh, I kind of look the same, but with gray hair.
No, I wouldn't even recognize you because even Blake showed me a picture. I'm sorry.
I have a couple.
Under the bus.
Look, no, I'll just be honest with you. There are some photos out there of me where Jamie Foxx said it best. He has this quote called "fame face." You know what fame face is?
I don't know.
Fame face is when you get like a little bit of fame or success, and then you go out and you like party too hard, drink too much, eat too much fast food at night. You get that party bloat, that party face, that round, bloated. It's just a thing that just happens when you're not really paying attention. And I've been more conscious of it. And I still drink. I party. Like, we party.
Yeah.
We party.
We did.
Tonight we party. But I've just been more conscious. I used to drink a lot of alcohol with sugar. And I think that's what maybe gave me that weird, nasty, like I want a Jack and Coke. What was another one? Anything with like sugar in it, like cranberry vodka, all that cranberry, all that sugar, all that Coke. And you're drinking it. Remember, when you're going out, you're drinking sometimes, over the course of a night, you'll have 5, 7, 10 drinks. And then you wake up the next morning, you feel like shit because all that sugar, right? It just turns into fat when you're asleep. What I've done lately is I'm regimenting my alcoholism. I'm really trying to pace my sugar intake.
You're in a recovery center right now.
I'm in a recovery center. Aside from my addiction to Stella beers, typically just Blanco tequila is what I'll sip on or shoot.
And there's no sugar basically there, right?
Most of them don't have it, yeah. I mean, it's kind of the cleanest. It's also like a probiotic. There's health factors. It comes from the agave plant. I mean, there's so many benefits.
Is it sponsored by tequila or something?
Can we get a tequila
Welcoming,
sponsor in
new
here, Wolf?
sponsors, Stella Artois. He is addicted.
But thank you. I'm I should go back online and try to get those pictures removed.
Please do. No, I think you should be like before and after, and then get a sponsor.
Do you have the
What
picture
happened?
you're referring to? Can you pull it up?
I don't
Just
even
pull it up.
Please,
Try to
Blake.
pull it up.
be on your Instagram somewhere.
Blake, I believe in you. But I feel like it's
Just go to his Instagram.
for
Just
men,
scroll
it's
down.
Like in general,
Is it on my Instagram page? Or is this something you found on the internet?
I don't even remember, to be honest.
Show a picture when you were together. You showed me a group picture. Remember?
And that's when I look weird? Or?
Recently?
Yeah, a group picture from Comedy Store with Ahmed Ahmed.
Oh,
that was
no,
like
yeah, that was like
10, 15
10
years
years
ago.
ago, yeah.
I wouldn't even recognize it. If you wouldn't tell me this is you, I'm
I used to have sideburns, people. I used to have long, like, black sideburns. And I used to have this, like, kind of like this big, like, brown, well, not a poof on, but I had, like, big, thick hair.
And now you look like.
And then sometimes I'd wear, like, this half goatee. Like, I was really searching for my fuck. It was crazy. Looking back, if you're talking about those pictures, then yes, I look like a freak. Freak of nature.
It's not that bad.
No,
just
it was
see.
bad since we're talking about
It's
it.
like for men, like I feel like it's just like wine. With age, you guys get better.
I don't know.
And what about women?
Is that the one?
Oh no, for us it's a lot. Well, this is not the worst. I've seen the
Let me
worst.
see.
No, this is like you already getting in a George Clooney
I actually
vibe.
look pretty good right
Yeah,
there.
but show another one. Just Google. Hold on, I'll Google.
Just Google how shitty he looks.
Just put, even the video you posted, was it from the Saturday Night Live? You did the when was it?
Oh, the
When-
Tonight Show?
Tonight Show.
Tonight
yeah.
Show.
There's a difference. The Tonight Show is was
Yes.
with Jay Leno, not
Yeah.
with Lauren Michaels. Oh yeah, I was bald and I was bigger then.
You were bold. I wouldn't. Hold on, I'm looking for.
Yeah, I used to be bald. I used to have long. You want to see a funny picture of me, bro?
Just find it. We
Wonder-
have to find it now. A picture. Hold on. Just go on your Instagram. This video from.
If we wanted to, Wolf, if we wanted to pull up like an image, we can't like post anything today.
It has to be like,
Next week, people. Next week.
we're gonna
Next
get
week.
back.
Can we do that next week? Can we try to throw some images up there and try to get some funny feedback of
Yeah, look
My-
at
my
yourself
shitty
here.
ears.
Yeah, and this is like, look how you look.
yeah.
Like guys.
We'll just roast
he's
you all
like
next week.
old and-
Perfect.
That's fine. I still killed it. I got 6 applause breaks.
Look how funny you look.
Well, I'm just saying, it doesn't matter what I look like when they're clapping and
yeah.
laughing, winning.
It's a goat thing.
Yeah.
I guess back then it was like a trend, right?
You know what? I'll tell you, want to know the reason I was bald back then?
What?
I had alopecia areata. You know what that
I
is?
don't know what
He
it
was
is. It's
really big
fancy.
fan of Howie Mandel. That was
Do you know
what
what?
it was.
You know what alopecia areata is, Wolf? People listening, watching. Alopecia areata is a disease that causes hair loss, but it only comes in like little patches, about the size of a. It starts out like the size of a dime, then it turns into a quarter, then it turns into a baseball. And I had a really bad, reaction on the back of my head. So I had this like this. When I say bald patch, like baby skin. It was like super soft, like all the hair fell out. When I went to the doctor to ask about it, the doctor said it happens from stress. There are these cells in your like that live in your hair follicles that attack your hair follicles. They get all like, man,
Angry.
get the fuck out of here. Get out of your hair. Right? We don't want you anymore. And then it just kind of expands. So instead of growing my hair long, which I did for a while, I'm sure you can dig those dirty pictures up too. To cover it up, I just said fuck it, and I shaved my head every day for almost a year. And it eventually grew back because my father, God rest his soul, my father was really funny, but he was also really cool and cryptic with some of his home remedies. He would say, Ahmed, just take some garlic, cut it a few times, and rub it on the back of your head. Trust me, your hair it will grow back. And he was right. The fucking shit grew back. Garlic, he used to put garlic, like, I think he used to brush his teeth with garlic, man. My dad, like, he had this thing with garlic. Garlic would always cure, it's an antiseptic, antiviral.
Yeah.
So my hair finally grew back, and then I let it grow back. But yeah, I used to be bald. How are we on time?
We're at 45 minutes.
45 minutes. Let's. Anything else on the agenda?
Just do some Hollywood tales.
All right, let's talk about some tour dates really quick coming up.
Yep.
Coming up soon. Trying to think. What do we have this week? Nothing this week. Some holiday Christmas parties happening at the Haha Comedy Club and the Irvine Improv this Wednesday, the 15th. If you're not invited, you probably can't come.
Is it Irvine or Hollywood Improv?
I'm sorry, Hollywood Improv. I'm not promoting these parties because they're paying me. I'm just going to show face. But thanks for the invite. This weekend, what do we got this weekend? I have some couple birthday parties and Christmas parties I'm going to. Next week, what do we have next week? Nothing. So now we're kind of rolling into Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this Thursday, December 16th. If you're in the Orange County area, we do a weekly comedy show every Thursday at Cruiser's Comedy Bar. It's Cruiser's Comedy Bar, but on Thursdays it's the club. It's 210 5th Street, right in the heart of Huntington Beach, right there in the main strip by PCH and Main Street. It's a fun little bar show. It's free. If you guys are around, come check that out. Jam in the Van is having their holiday party here on site on Thursday, the same night. So after Huntington Beach, we're gonna jam up here, but it's invite only once again. So sorry,
Sorry.
sorry guys. No, I'm gonna half invite everybody to stuff and then uninvite you. And then I think we're just kind of rolling into the year. I have some Supernova shows coming up in late December, hopefully. But coming out of the gate, coming out hot in January 2022, we're doing Roosevelt comedy at the Roosevelt Hotel. I'll keep you posted on dates, but it looks like January 7th will be our first one. January 14th and 15th will be at Hyenas Comedy Club in Dallas. If you're in Dallas, watching from Dallas, Hyenas Comedy Club in Dallas, January 14th, 15th. And then the three of us are going to be in Florida, Naples, Florida, Off the Hook Comedy Club, January 18th. That's where someone called 911 on me over a joke. I know, it's fucking absurd. Somebody called 911 on me over a joke in Naples, Florida. Did I talk about this last week?
I don't believe so. No.
I don't think so. I think next week, maybe Wolf, if I could pull up that video and show you, if we could maybe play that for people virtually. I don't know how that works with the podcast aspect technically, but I do a joke where I say, hey, any Arabs in the audience or Middle Eastern people? And then a few people clap and I say, hey, that's great. It only takes one of us. And then people like awkwardly laugh and then I go, I'm just joking, but seriously, lock the doors. And then that gets a laugh. I've done the joke 1,000 times around the world. And this one night on May 12th, 2019, Mother's Day, in fact, I did that joke. And the next day, this guy called 911 on me. He called in the morning on a Sunday. The show was on a Saturday, called Sunday. So he slept on the fucking emergency, this guy. Anyway, 2 cops showed up to interview me. They had to come check me out because he thought that I said in the call, oh, there's enough of us to start our own little terrorist organization, which I never said. Well, he's a Trump supporter, and he was just like all, terrified and probably, skeptic of what was going on. And, the joke is, look, bro, terrorist recruiters, okay, or headhunters, they're not sending people, headhunters to Naples, Florida to find their next recruit. All right? It's just not going to happen at a comedy club. Also, terrorists don't wear Under Armour. Terrorists don't do meet and greets. I do meet and greets. Terrorists don't go, death to all Americans, but first, let's take a selfie. Terrorists don't smoke weed. I smoke weed. We're at Jam in the Van. We smoke weed here. Terrorists don't smoke weed, but maybe they should. You'll kill terrorism. Right? Walking around, right? Plotting against America. Mustafa. Muhammad. Tariq. We're going to get America where it hurts them the most. I swear to Allah. tomorrow. Tomorrow. Right now I want Domino's pizza. So the two cops showed up, black cop and a Mexican cop, which I thought was interesting. They sent two ethnic cops down for the dispatch. And then I recorded them. I just said, hey, is it cool if I record you guys? It is cool, just by law, you're allowed to, but
You're allowed to,
you
right?
never know if like cop's gonna grab your phone or try to arrest you or taser you. Because I'm technically black, so
African.
I'm North African, which is Africa. So light brown lives matter too. But the black female cop looked at me and she was like, "Baby, you can record whatever you want." So I recorded them. Then I posted it on Twitter that night. Went to sleep. Woke up the next morning. It went viral, and it got picked up by the New York Post and the CNN, New York Times, BBC, TMZ, fucking KFC. Everybody was on it. And then a friend of mine named Tom Winkler, who used to be an animator for The Simpsons, made a cartoon out of the actual call. It's brilliant. If you just Google or YouTube, Florida man calls 911 on Muslim comic, you'll see all the press. But if you want to see the actual link to the YouTube clip, just type in Ahmed Ahmed 911 animated call subtitles. It's 4 minutes long. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I'm not even in it. Of course, I'm not in the call, but it's two people talking about me, the 911 operator and the caller, and it's just such a funny thing. And the way he animated it was really funny. So, so I've been playing this at comedy clubs, which is cool. At some of these venues we're doing that have a LED screen or are capable of doing it. But we'll play it next Monday. Wolf, thank you. We will play, and we'll put that in the notes to pull that up and play it next Monday. Not alongside, but in conjunction with our secret special guest, the Christmas movie guy. So what else? Oh, then we have, so that happened in Naples, Florida. Get tickets offthehookcomedyclub.com in Naples, Florida. It's a really cool club.
Key West.
And then we're going to Key West, Florida. And what was the name of the venue?
Key West Comedy Club.
Key West Comedy Club. If you happen to be in Key West, come check us out on the 19th. And we're still adding dates, so stay tuned. Follow us all on Instagram at Blake_Barty.
Blake.Barty.
I'm sorry, Blake dot? I thought it was
Underscores Twitter. Someone stole all my handles. It's
keep it consistent, man. Blake.Barty, BARTEE, at Anya, ANYA _ Zova, ZOVA, and at Ahmed Comedy, AHMED Comedy. If you missed the Tom Morello podcast last week, go to Jam in the Van, go to the YouTube, subscribe, and check it out. Hollywood Tales, episode 1. This has been a lot of fun. Who wants to take the lead?
Hollywood Tale.
What's your best Hollywood tale?
What I was thinking about on the way up here, the first time I ever went to Hollywood, 8th grade, I was with my friend Dennis. His uncle drove us out there, and we were going to try to go see. There was a red carpet event for an Adam Sandler movie. I don't recall which movie. But we were all big fans, 8th grade. So we drive out there. First time driving down, I believe Hollywood Boulevard. Is that where the Laugh Factory's at?
Mm-hmm.
Sunset.
We're driving down Sunset. I look right. There's the Laugh Factory, and I see Damon Wayans standing out front. Huge In Living Color fan. I grew up watching In Living Color. That was my thing. Anyway, we get back. Beautiful night. I'm staying the night at my friend's house. And his uncle thinks, oh, cool, let's just get these guys some weed. And it's the first time I smoked weed, which was really weird. And I hit it. And immediately I started coughing. I had a full-blown panic attack, ran outside and was like, call 911. And the uncle was like, shut the fuck up, And I was just freaking out. And he was freaking out probably because he's like, why the hell did I give weed to an 8th grader? And he was fucking making me tea and shit. And he's like, calm down. I'm like, fuck, I can't. I'm all shaky. And Anyway,
Traumatized.
full on like panic attack, which kind of saved my life because a lot of my friends got into drugs like, you know, after that and like through high school, and I kind of steered clear. So, you know, but I'm back. I'm smoking weed again, little by little. Like I take a little puff here and there, and
Your
it
influence.
feels
So-
nice. Like I'm back.
Welcome back. So Damon Wayans, you didn't have any interaction with him. You just drove by.
I
yourself.
yelled out the window,
Oh,
Damon, and he waved. Like, no, he was cool. He was just standing on the corner. And to me, that was huge. Like,
okay.
yeah.
Well, you forgot that part of the story.
Well, I'm sorry. You know?
Damon.
Next time I tell it.
Damon.
Yeah.
Damon.
It was nice.
That's
What
cool.
about you?
My
What's your
Hollywood
best Hollywood tale? Well, the LeBron James
Well, I
story.
just didn't know his name. Let me tell. Well, you mentioned Jay Leno. I'm gonna tell Jay Leno's story.
Tell
The-
both.
Okay, let's do Jay Leno. So I did the Burbank Comedy Festival this August
The Flappers.
at Flappers. And I walk into the green room and there are two guys sitting on the couch, like kind of the same green couch. And I say, hey, what's up, guys? And one guy goes, hey, I'm Jay. Another guy says, hey, I'm Josh, wherever. I shake their hands, I'm Anya, I walk away. And back then I was working with, okay, I was working with, my name slipped. It's so embarrassing. I was working with Barry Katz. Barry, sorry, I forgot your name. He's going to kill me. Oh my gosh, this is
He's
embarrassing.
most likely not going to watch this
Yeah,
podcast. But you never know.
I'm
No,
gonna-
because this podcast will live on the internet, and maybe
At some
7
point.
years from now, he's going to be like scrolling through,
Yeah, and he's going to be
trolling
like, Anya,
around.
Just send him the link. I'll send him the
Okay, I'm
link.
blushing, yeah. Send him the link. So, yeah, and he calls me. He's like, Anya, how it's going? Who's headlining the show? I'm like, I'm not sure. Let me look at the lineup. And I'll go to the wall. I look at the lineup. Oh, there's a guy named Jay Leno?
You had no idea who he
I
was?
had no idea. And I told him, hey, what's
So
up?
funny.
And I felt so embarrassed.
I love your
because
innocence. This
Yeah.
guy, Jay Leno?
But
Lino?
exactly. So no excuses for me. I should know my shit, especially I'm in comedy now. Now I know who he is. But and Barry's like, how you don't know this guy? He told me the whole story and he was huge, blah, blah. I'm like, well, I grew up in Russia. I didn't watch. When I moved here, he was already retired. So he's like, okay, go to him and properly introduce yourself, shake his hand. I'm like, okay. He's like, don't say what's up, guys, anymore. I'm like, okay, I got it, Barry. So I introduced myself wherever the way I was supposed to, took a picture with him. So yeah, that's the most recent.
And he was nice to you.
Oh, he's very nice.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
He's super
He's very comic friendly because Jay Leno's like he toured for many years before he got the Tonight Show. He was a struggling comic. He was doing the Improv, the Comedy Store. This is a story we'll talk about later, but when Mitzi Shore was alive, God rest her soul, and was running the Comedy Store, there was a strike that happened in the comedy world, a coup, if you will, where all the comics in LA struck against her. They picketed in front of Mitzi Shore's Comedy
Why?
Store because she wouldn't pay comics. She would say, stage time is enough. And some of the biggest, Tonight Show bookers and like some of the biggest talent agents and casting people were coming into the Comedy Store nightly and, putting people on TV and
Yeah.
changing their careers. But a lot of the mid-level comics weren't happy because they either weren't getting cast and stuff, but they felt like they needed to get paid something, which I understand. But I remember her. I used to be really, really good friends with Mitzi Shore, and she had told me one time when that happened, she said the strike was one of the worst times in her life because people that she helped out and nurtured for so many years, like Jay Leno and David Letterman, she looked out the window of her office at the Comedy Store and she saw Letterman and Leno walk down from the Hyatt, back then was the Hyatt Hotel, joining the picket line
Oh, wow.
to picket against her. And she said that made me cry because I did a lot for those guys.
That's heartbreaking. for her.
Especially Letterman. She told me some crazy, I don't even know if I can repeat them, but she told me some crazy Letterman stories. She did say in his defense and to his credit, that when he got the Late Show, the Dave Letterman Late Show, apparently he flew her to New York, walked her up the NBC studios to his office, which I think was at that time 60, 70 people were employed. He walked in with her and he said, "Hey, everybody, can I have your attention, please?" This is Mitzi Shore, the owner of the Comedy Store. If it wasn't for her, none of you would have a job.
Wow.
So he kind of like
He made it up.
he made it up.
Yeah.
She said that was like a really great sort of redemption for her.
Of course.
Oh, see that? That's a sign.
It's a sign, yeah.
Mitzi,
Yeah, we only have like a minute
the
left.
Spirit, the
Mitzi,
spirit,
Mitzi's
yeah.
here. We can go over a little bit, right? No? All right, let me tell a quick Hollywood story.
Please do.
I was 19 years old, living in Hollywood. I was living with, at the time, unknown Vince Vaughn. And Vince had a great just knack for calling clubs and getting us in. So he called the Roxbury one night, which was a hot club on Sunset Boulevard. And at the time, I used to be really jacked. And I had this goatee. I looked like a Mexican boxer. And I remember I had a baseball a cap that said LA Olympics, whatever. Long line. We couldn't get in. Vince walks up to the door guy and whispers in his ear. And the guy goes, and he lets like 7 of us in. Actually, our guest next week was one of the ones who got in. And I walked in, I looked at Vince Vaughn and I said, what did you say to that guy? And he goes, I told you your name's Hector Chavez and you're Golden Gloves boxer for the LA for the US Olympics. Oh, and I had a black eye at the time because I had gotten in a fight like a week before. So I looked like a boxer.
Boxer, legitimate boxer.
And then we got into this nightclub, and that is my Hollywood tale for this week. We'll be back next Monday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you missed us, go to Gem of the Van YouTube channel and check out the episodes. This is episode number 2 with Anya Zova, my co-host Blake Barty. Give it up for Wolf Ramirez and the staff here, Jack Higgins, everybody here at Jam of the Van.
Amazing.
Godspeed.
All right.
Have a great week.
Have a good week. Thank you,
Good
guys.
stuff. Good stuff.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It was fun.
It was fun.
Boom.